Fly sweet Adelines, Region 9, Sunshine Airlines.
Hello.
Hi there.
Come on in.
Welcome.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
You too. Hi.
Walk this way.
Nice to see you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard today, Sweet Adeline, Region 9 Sunshine Airline. I'll be your flight attendant, Debbie.
And I'll be your flight attendant, Tony. That's right, double flight attendants to help you on your travel in tune Skyways learning experience that will hopefully help with your performance on the other end of this, bringing a great, positive, strong performance yet to come.
That's right. We'll be flying across Region 9, traveling in tune. And along the way, we're going to meet up with some of our friends who are going to share some great educational moments with you. So not only do you get a free trip, but you get to learn along the way. Tony, it's going to be so much fun.
I am so excited about everything in store. That's right.
And starting out, I think we should stop in Central Florida.
Central Florida?
And visit our other friend, Debbie.
There's another Debbie.
Yes, there is another. There's definitely not another Tony, but there's another Debbie, and she's a friend of ours in Central Florida, and she's going to help us get warmed up because we shouldn't start and try to give our full performance until we're warmed up.
And you mean physically warmed up,
Yes,
right?
that's
so
right.
we're moving and shaking while we're traveling at 10,000 feet.
That's right, and it's important, or 30,000. We could fly a little
30,000.
higher.
We
So
could
don't
stay at
hit
10,000
things.
and maybe hit a few
But
things along.
yes, that would not be good.
30,000 is good.
We are a little higher, and it's important when you're traveling to get up and move as well. So we're going to get up and stretch our bodies a little along the way.
Good, let's
Yeah,
do it.
Keep it moving.
Can we have a drink after?
Maybe some water.
Lovely.
Only. Yes, so here we are. We're going to stop in Central Florida. Let's see our friend Debbie, and it's going to be fun. So fasten your seatbelts.
I'm going to need an extender, actually, Debbie.
Hi, my name is Debbie Dennis. I have been a member of Sweet Adelines for over 30 years, and I am a third generation Sweet Adeline. I've also been a member of the Sound of Sunshine since day one. Today we're going to combine my love of dance and my love of music in a physical warm-up. First thing we're going to do is walk you through the steps. Then we'll put it all to music. The bottom line is, if I go that way, you go that way. If I go that way, you go that way. Then we're going to put it all together, dance, smile, and have fun. Remember, it's all about participation over perfection. Hi, we're going to break down that physical warm-up now. We're going to start with some stretching. We're going to start with our neck, move to our shoulders, do a bit of a twist, all slow and gentle. You do a lunge. Now remember, when you do the lunge, you're going to keep your hips back and kind of sit into it so you don't injure your knee. And then we'll do that on each side, and then you're going to bring each leg forward, keeping a knee bent so again we don't cause any injury to our knees. Just follow along with that stretch. Only push yourself as far as you're comfortable. Don't try to go any further than that. Not everybody stretches in the same way. Okay, next up we're going to transition into our more rhythmic warm-up. Now, we're going to start with the feet first. You're just going to take 2 steps, 2 steps, 2 steps. Now we're going to add the arms, just rock them back and forth. You're going to go to each side 2 times. Then we're going to change the arms. You're going to go open and closed, open and closed. Again, 2 times in each direction. Guess what? We're going to repeat that whole combination 1 more time. Next up, we're going to move into another step, which after you do these, you're going to step right into it. You're going to step and reach, step and reach. You're going to do 4 of these, 2 on each side. Then you're going to change it up and do a step and reach to the side. Again, 2 to each side. Okay? Next up is a grapevine with a little bit of a twist. So we're going to take, if you're not familiar with the grapevine, you're going to take step, behind, step, touch. That's your traditional grapevine. But then we're going to put a twist on it and rock forward and back. Then we're going to take it to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, rock forward, rock back. And guess what? 2 times in each direction. Now here's the fun part. We're going to do something you already learned, and we're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to shuffle each time, 2 times in each direction on this one. And then when we go to transition to this time you're going to do this one in 3 times in either direction. So then the last part of this warm-up is simply going to be following me with the arms. And this will go right along with the music. We will follow the arms as the music ebbs and flows, and we'll bring it up, circle it around, and bring our arms down. And that's a taste of what our physical warm-ups are. Just remember to smile and have fun. Isn't that what it's all about?
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away, don't go away. You told me once, dear, you really love me, and no one else could come between. But now you've left me, you've left to love another. You have shattered all my dreams, my dreams. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
I find myself drowning in my own tears. Whoa, you are the sunshine of my life, the sunshine of my life. That's why I'll always stay around. You are the apple of my eye. Yes, you are the apple of my eye. Forever you'll stay in my heart. You must have known that I was lonely, because you came to my rescue. Because you came to my rescue. And I know that this must be heaven. Must be heaven. How could so much love be inside of you? Whoa, you are the sunshine of my life, my life. That's why I'll always be around. That's why I'll always be around. Forever you'll stay in my heart. You stay in my heart. You stay in my heart. You'll forever stay inside my heart.
Thanks, Debbie, for that fantastic physical warm-up. We really enjoyed it. And Tony, was it that hard, the physical warm-up? Was it that?
No, not at all. I'm so scared of flying. I'm petrified being in the air like this.
We're flight attendants. You're not supposed to be scared of flying.
I only did it for the benefits. I just need air.
Okay,
oxygen.
Well, if you need oxygen, the oxygen mask will drop from right above you. Place it over your own mouth and nose first before you try to save anyone else.
Okay.
And also, the emergency exits are located there and there. They're all over the plane.
Don't need an emergency exit. I need a bandage now, but I do need some oxygen to be able to sing, right, and be able to breathing and so forth.
Lucky for you, we're gonna land again pretty soon.
That's right. We're landing in South Florida, right around the corner from us, but still a part of Region 9, right? With Dee Dee, and she's the baritone of Bling and a co-director of Spirit of the Golf Course. So we're going to be thrilled to hear from her about some vocal stuff, right?
She has some fantastic concepts that she's going to share with all of us about singing and about making our voices better. And I just can't wait for especially you to hear this, Tony, to make your voice better.
Thank you, Debbie. I'll be working on it along with my flight attendant skills. For now, let's settle into South Florida with Dee Dee.
It's going to be so much fun, so fasten your seatbelt.
I need an extender.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee Kassler, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to let your voice shine. I'm the co-director of Spirit of the Gulf Chorus down in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm the baritone of Bling Quartet, and I'm also a member of the international faculty. When I was asked to do this with Region 9, I really wanted to find something that was going to reach out to you as a member of a chorus on how to make you feel more confident and comfortable with your voice on the risers. So as a director, I've had a lot of people come to me throughout the years and say things like, oh, I got a PVI and my voice is darker. I had a coaching session and someone pointed out that my voice is too pointy. Things like that. First of all, I highly recommend getting PVIs and getting to know your voice better. But what do we do with that information? So my goal today is to give you some exercises to kind of help with different types of issues that might be arising in chorus member voices that you can work on your own at home all by yourself. Let's start with a story that is very near and dear to my heart. It's mine. It's a story of someone who is comfortable singing in their chest voice and does not like their head voice. When I first joined Sweet Adelines, I lived in my chest voice. I'm a baritone, that's where I like to sing. I would sing tags with people and want to go higher and higher and sing and belt those notes out, but I refused to flip into my head voice because it wasn't as powerful, it wasn't as present in the sound, and it just sounded puny. As I moved along in my chorus and my quartet, I realized I need to make friends with my head voice. I need to use it. So I have 3 exercises that I'm going to share with you that really helped me through this phase of my Sweet Adeline career. The first one is an exercise that goes like this. That takes you through a lot of notes, and the most important part is that slide at the end. If you can keep going higher in this exercise to where that slide ends up going over your break, you start to get more comfortable with that area of your voice. So if I keep going, still all of my chest voice, Did you hear it that time? Did you hear that break? It's okay for it to sound bad in this. This is our own personal time. We're practicing in our houses. Myself, I was practicing in my shower. It's okay to go through that and work through that. It's supposed to sound like that. But the more you do this exercise, the more it's going to help you figure out how to maneuver through that part of your voice. And yes, I am starting in my head voice. And when I first started this exercise, it sounded puny up there too. And then it was a big change. So I had to get used to that too and allow myself to be okay with that. So as you keep going higher, another thing I'm going to suggest is some kinesthetics. I learned this from one of my favorite people on the planet, Peggy Graham, when one of my first coaching days when I first joined Sweet Adelines, and it's taking that slide and putting the sound out in front of you during that slide. So she likes to talk about a crystal bowl. You put your hand up on the other side of it and you go down the side of the bowl and back up when you're doing that slide. For example, like this. Yeah, and then we got to make sure we have enough air to get through there too. Let's try it again. So that slide went from my head voice to my chest voice, and I was able to maneuver through there, and putting it out there on the side of that bowl helps me a smoother transition through there. So I suggest you practice that every day, every single day, to get used to how that feels and to start developing more ways to work around that break in your voice. The next thing is that actual head voice feeling when you're singing just in your head voice. So if I'm going, just take the beginning of that exercise and practice singing it bending over. When you bend over, it kind of makes you feel like all this sound is coming into your resonators and into the mask of your face. And so when you do that, it kind of gives a little more presence into that higher voice. And it kind of just the thought of gravity, I feel like mentally helps us put that sound in the right spot to give it a little more presence. The last thing I'm going to suggest is let's say you have a rep song and there's parts in there where you have to go higher and you have to get into your head voice and it's just not comfortable. Isolate those parts of the song and practice it in the key that it's written, but then take it up. Just like we do with our warm-ups where we go up, up, up every half step, do that with a section of your song to get you more comfortable in that head voice. So for example, if I sing, tomorrow's another day, and it's in my head voice and I don't like it, it doesn't sound good, I'm going to take it up another notch. Tomorrow's another day. 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 And I'm going to keep going higher. And then when I go back to the key that it's written in, tomorrow's another day, it doesn't seem as scary anymore, and you feel a little more comfortable in that part of your voice. So I hope just in doing this example for you, you can see how far I came. If you could have seen me 10 years ago when I was trying to get through all of this, actually more than that, 20 years ago, it was pitiful, my head voice. Tomorrow's another day. I just hated it. And now I have no problem singing up there and trying to be free in that head voice because I put the work in every day to make a change in my habits. Okay, now we're going to move on to a second example. This example is the scooper. As a chorus director, there are a lot of members who I've seen throughout the years who are self-identified scoopers. And they come and they tell me, I'm a scooper, I have a problem with scooping, and we talk about it, ways to fix it. Or I might be directing a rehearsal and I might stop the rehearsal. There's some scooping happening over here, we need to clean that up. And right away, that was me, I'm the scooper, that was me. And it's almost like a badge of honor that they are the scoopers of the chorus, and which is kind of funny. And you also hear this a lot in quartets too, because the lead wants to be stylistic, but you have to be careful because we still want clean chords. So one of the reasons that scooping happens is because of those initial consonants. If you have for example, the song Seasons of Love. Seasons of love. That L on the beginning of love is really a trap for scooping. Seasons of love. Seasons of love. That, and the F coming off of the of is also the same thing. So one thing we can do to try to fix that is start out with some exercises first. Starting with some scooping consonants like an L, the R, and doing la 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 la, and just singing it without thinking first and seeing if that scoop comes in. It probably will sneak in there, especially on that top note. La 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 la, and then switching to a consonant that doesn't scoop, like a T. Ta 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 ta. Try it again on an R and see if that scooping comes back in. Ra 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 ra, and then maybe switch to a D that doesn't have scooping. Da 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 da. See how much cleaner those are? So then take that example and put it into your rep song. If you're singing Seasons of Love and you're having trouble scooping every time you sing the word love, then for a rehearsal part of your song, switch the love to tov or dove. Seasons of dove. And maybe throughout the whole song, maybe sing the word dove. And then switch it to love and see if you can really make that mental switch to how clean it sounded when you had the D or the T in front of the word love. So I would suggest taking a rep song, or maybe something you are going to scoop on, or you've been told you're scooping on, and maybe record just a section of it. Just take it a little chunk by chunk. Record a section of it, see if you can identify where the scooping is happening. Change those consonants of the beginning to like a T or a D. Practice it that way, get used to that nice clean interval sound, and then switch it back and record it again and see if you're getting better. And then keep track of that. Like, you have to keep doing it, not just once, not just twice, but on a consistent manner. All right, now we're going to move into another typical issue that I face when I'm looking at a chorus that I'm coaching or a quartet. The person who has a dark sound. The people who sing back here and their sound needs to come a little more forward. I know there's a lot of people who have had PVIs or have had coachings, and they walk away with it knowing that their tendency is to have a dark sound. So if that's you, that was also me sometimes, I have a couple of exercises for you. So for me, I know that a lot of times my sound would kind of shift back. And one of my favorite coaches in the world, Betty Clipman, who I love so much, she was coaching Bling at one point, and was telling me to put my hand, again, kinesthetics, fantastic, right here on your nose. Actually touch your nose. You don't want to press down, but make sure your hand is touching your nose. And so when you're doing the exercise, anything, it could be, you could start with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if your voice is typically hanging back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then for me, it happened because I was overcompensating, trying to get more resonant. So I was told I need to add more resonance, and it became darker. So then we put the hand up just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the best thing about that exercise when I did it was I didn't have to think about it. Because my hand was touching my nose, it just magically worked to where the sound just wanted to go where that sensation was, and it put it all right in the right spot. And so from then on, every time Betty would be here coaching us, we would be singing, and every once in a while she'd look up at me and do the hand on the nose, and I'd put my hand up on the nose. I can't tell you how many rehearsals we had in the quartet where my hand would go up on my nose just to remind me, and it happened so much in the beginning because I needed to make that habit. I needed to know what that felt like, and I needed it to happen more and more so it would become a part of the way I sing. So this is a great way, if you have a dark sound, just practice everything you're doing with that hand right on your nose, and it brings it right into the right spot. Now, a couple of part specific examples. If you are a bass and when you sing and you go down into your range and it starts to fall back and we need more presence in your sound, another exercise you can do is la 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 la. So if I'm singing, I can't sing bass, so it's just going to be in my range. La 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 la, and it goes back. Take your hand and put it out in front of you, and you want to put that sound into your hand as you're going out. La 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 la. You want to send that sound all the way out here. La 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 la. Sometimes I do like my hands like this a little more sensation for my mind to think about putting that sound in here. La 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 la. And it will put it in that more forward position. I have my chorus members do this a lot. If there's a specific part of a song where I tend to lose the basses because the sound goes away, I need more presence, let's put our hands out, everybody sing into that hand, and it usually fixes it right there. But again, it fixes it for a minute. So how do they fix it all the time? They actually have to go home and practice it and make it a part of their rehearsal process if that's the problem that they're having. All right, and the last one is on the other end of the spectrum, tenors. We have a lot of tenors who sometimes sing in the, oh, in this kind of dark space. And so one thing you can do for tenors who are having that issue is take your finger and put it right on your forehead, okay, like a third eye kind of thing. And again, that sensation is going to bring that sound here into a more focused sound. So, la, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to put it a little more in that forward spot, but up here where tenors tend to hang out. You wouldn't, if you have a tenor who is more of that laser sound, you would not want them to do this because it'll make it more in your face. But those tenors that are kind of all out there, putting that finger right there brings that sound all the way to the front. Our last example today is the chorus member whose voice sticks out. If you've been in a chorus and your director's moved you around from place to place, maybe trying to blend you with voices around you, or you've been told that you've been sticking out in rehearsal, then this is for you. So typically when your voice sticks out, you usually have the kind of voice that's very forward and maybe just too much this way. So one thing you can do on your own is when you're rehearsing, you can take your hands, put them out to either side of your head, and instead of focusing on sending your message this way, tomorrow's another day, try sending that sound out to the sides of your hands. Tomorrow's another day, and really focus on trying to get the sound out into your hands instead of in front of you, because chances are it's still going to have that nice forward placement and we're still going to hear that presence come out, but now it won't be just laser coming out at us in the audience. So I would incorporate that into your daily practice, singing into your arms, and you might build some muscles. Anyway, when you get into rehearsals with other people, there's another thing you can do to help fix that in your sound, where you can kind of borrow some qualities from other members, or if you're in a quartet, people in your quartet who have what you want. And maybe they need a little bit of what you have. So I've invited my friend Maria over to help me demonstrate this part of the exercise. Come on in, Maria. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
She sings with me in Spirit of the Gulf. She's a fantastic lead. And so she typically has a very forward sound, very It could sometimes be a pointed sound. So I'm going to have her sing the beginning of the song in that quality. Go ahead.
Tomorrow's another day.
Good. And so let's say I'm also a lead in the chorus with her and I'm singing, but I have a darker sound. Tomorrow's another day. So I need more of what she's got and she needs more of what I have. So we're going to do an exercise where we borrow from each other. So we're going to turn this way and we're going to sing it again and she's going to sing through me to kind of give me those qualities. Let's try it.
Yep.
Tomorrow's another day. Good. And I could already feel that more forward placement coming through as she sang through me. On the same token, we can turn around the other way and I can send some of my qualities through her. Let's try that. Tomorrow's another day. Now, if you do this exercise, I would recommend that you have maybe a third ear listening and you also talk about it. Like, did that feel different to you?
Yeah, definitely. It opened up more in the back right here.
Right. Yep. And so it's good to identify in words how it feels to the person when they are feeling a little bit different about it. And then hopefully you could hear how our voices became a little more unified that way. So if you're someone who has that trouble where your voice sticks out on its own, find some people who have kind of the opposite of what you do, and let's borrow from each other to get that unit sound. Okay? Thanks, Maria.
Thanks.
So I want to leave you with this thought. You need to recognize your strengths. So you maintain that confidence when you sing. We all want to be happy when we're singing and be proud of our voices. But you also need to identify those problem areas, those labels that maybe you have even given yourself, and know that they're there, but make a conscious effort to fix them. I would suggest if you know that there's a label you have for yourself, reach out to your director or your section leader, or maybe just someone else in your chorus that you trust, and let them know, I'm going to make this goal for myself. It's almost like an exercise goal or a weight goal or any kind of goal you have in your life. You want to be held accountable for it. So why don't we treat our issues the same way? We want to get rid of this issue, and so we're going to make a conscious effort to create new habits in our singing hobby. So it could be maybe make a calendar of I'm going to, on my rehearsals, I'm going to work on this for these rehearsals. And I would do it in little chunks. Identify one thing, focus on that one thing. Tell your director, I'm going to work on not scooping. I want you to let me know for sure if you hear me scooping, or your section leader. Or if you're still not meeting in person, do some recordings and send them to someone you trust, your section leader or somebody like that, and say, am I getting better? Do you hear things getting a little cleaner? Help yourself be accountable by inviting people to help you, listening to yourself sing, which we all hate to do, I do too, but it needs to be something that you do, otherwise you're never going to grow in your own voice. And the only thing I want for you is to be able to shine on that stage.
Well, certainly, Tony, all of our passengers had to enjoy our little pit stop in South Florida with Dee Dee.
That's right, some wonderful vocal concepts that you can use today or going on. As she mentioned, you have to be willing to put in the time on a daily basis.
So important. And you know what? Another thing that's important is your mindset.
That's right. What's going on in the noggin?
Exactly.
So you want to go?
Well, we thought that the best person in Region 9 to share those ideas with everybody might be our good friend Karen up in Jacksonville. That North Florida area is still part of Region 9, and we're lucky enough to have our friend Karen, a two-time international champion.
Do you think she's the right mindset, though?
Well,
really?
She's kind of negative sometimes.
Sometimes a little bit of a downer, but not a Debbie Downer. See what I did there?
You need to buckle your seatbelt, young man,
I'd
and let's
love
get
to,
this
if I
flight
could.
underway
I
to
just
Jacksonville
still
to see Karen.
Need an extender.
Hi, my name is Karen Breitert, and my topic today is the power of positive self-talk. I have always believed in self-talk. How many of you talk to yourselves? Now, you're probably sitting there going, do I talk to myself? I mean, the fact of the matter is we do. We're giving ourselves messages all the time. So, for example, before I would be introduced to teach a class, I would be saying to myself, I'm ready for this class. I know my material. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad they're here. Before a rehearsal, I'm telling myself I'm ready for this rehearsal. I have a good rehearsal plan. I love my chorus. Notice that these messages are not things like, I'm going to win this contest. That could be a long-term goal or a plan or a wish or a dream. But self-talk is positive statements, affirmations that are true. So notice the difference between saying, I'm ready for this contest versus, I hope I don't trip on the stage. Or I know my notes and words instead of, I hope I don't forget the words. I read a book about winners and losers, although I don't really like that term, but it said winners see and say what they want to have happen, and losers see and say what they hope doesn't happen. That's the difference between I know my words and I hope I don't forget my words. Now I'm just going to pause here a moment and tell you a true story that happened to me. And some of you know me and you've heard this story. When I was teaching school, there would be times I'd have to change to a different school. And I went to a school as a new member of their faculty, and I found that the faculty there was very negative, very cynical, very sarcastic. And here comes Karen Breitert, happy and upbeat, and they did not know how to take me. Matter of fact, one day I was in the teacher's lounge, and there was only one other lady in there with me, and she said to me, you know, Karen, the rest of the faculty here does not really like your personality. And I said, oh, is that right? And she said, you know, when you're not around, they have a nickname for you. And I said, really? She said, do you want to hear it? And I said, not particularly, which I think made her mad. But she said, I think you should know what they call you. I said, okay. So I took a deep breath. She said, when you're not around, they call you sunshine. Well, I laughed, which was not the desired effect for her, I'm sure. But I got thinking, if that's the worst nickname I ever get in this life, I think I'm okay with that. But the reason I told you that story is not because Region 9 chose the theme of sunshine for our presentation, because that's absolutely a true story. But I told you that because me, Mrs. Sunshine, found myself kind of blue during this pandemic. There were some months that I really fought this bad feeling. And so I started listening to the messages I was giving myself, and they were quite negative. They were things like, I hate this pandemic. I'm not good at quarantining. I'm so tired of rehearsing by Zoom. And I started being aware of the negative messages and the effect they were having on me. So I went back to this whole idea of positive self-talk. And I even read a few new books on the subject. And you know, neuroscience has helped us now understand so much about our brains and how the brain gets programmed. Whatever messages you give your brain, the most repeated times, the loudest, the strongest, those are the messages the brain starts programming. That has profound impact on our way of life. And so I was just thinking that if the brain believes what it's told, that has great impact on what we tell ourselves and what we tell others.
Many of you might be thinking that as a young person, you received a lot of negative messages. Unfortunately, I think that's true for many of us. Whether it was your parents or your teachers saying things like, "You're not good at that," "You're not much of an artist," or "You'll never be able to play that instrument," or "You don't have a very good memory." Can you imagine how those messages were received? There's a story in one of the books I read about a little boy named Michael, and he was shy, and he wasn't exactly getting good grades in school. But one day he overheard an elderly neighbor say to his mother, "You know, little Mikey is so creative." That registered with him. And by the way, this guy is Mike Vance, and he is the Dean of Disney University. That tells us about the messages not only we give ourselves, but others, maybe especially the young people in our lives. The brain can be wired, rewired, programmed, and reprogrammed. It's so much like a computer. And the brain doesn't try to talk you out of what you're telling it. It's like your laptop. If you typed in the sentence, "Broccoli is bad," your laptop doesn't come back with, "Oh, but have you considered the nutritional value?" No, it just receives the message, "Broccoli is bad." And that's how our brains are too. If you were about to get on an airplane and you overheard the two pilots say to each other, "This airplane flight is programmed incorrectly," you'd probably consider getting off that plane. So we want our brains to be programmed and wired in a positive way. How do you do that? Well, the first step is awareness. Start listening to what you're telling yourself, and start listening for whether those are positive messages or negative. For example, do any of these sound familiar? "I can't remember names." "I'm not good at this." "I've never been good at that." "It's just my luck." Of course, when we say that, we mean it's bad luck. Like we're saying we always have bad luck. And maybe as a singer, you're saying things like, "I always forget the first word," or "I'm no good at choreography," or "My voice is out of shape." All of those messages can be erased, replaced, and rewired. So right now, I'm replacing some of those messages that had me down this year. Instead of "I hate this pandemic," I'm saying, "I'm alive and I have a beautiful day in front of me." Instead of "My voice is out of shape," I say to myself, there are so many people out there willing to help me get my voice back in shape. Instead of "I'm tired of Zoom rehearsals," I'm saying, tonight I get to see those faces that I love. This can work for you. Try some of these on for size. "I am strong." Come on, you can say it right now. You can say it out loud or you can say it silently. "I am strong." "I am confident." "I am surrounded by great people." "I am equipped." "I am blessed." And I have been blessed today to be able to share these thoughts with you. Thank you for tuning in. And now I am done.
Hi folks, this is Captain speaking. Now that you got your brains in a good positive direction, we're going to ask that you quickly take your seats. Once there, we're going to ask that you direct your attention to the in-seat monitor for a quick and positive announcement. Might even be some singing for you. We'll be airborne shortly.
Hey everybody, it's Bling Quartet from Region 9, and we're here in South Florida to teach you a tag.
We found this great little tag called "You Bring the Sunshine Wherever You Go," and this is what it sounds like.
You bring the sunshine wherever you go. Sunshine, I love you so.
start first. Eight, 7, 6. You bring the sunshine wherever you go. And then you just hold that note forever.
You bring the sunshine wherever you go. Sunshine, I love you so.
You bring the sunshine wherever you go. Sunshine, I love you so. 1, 2. You bring the sunshine wherever you go. Sunshine, I love you so. Now let's put it all together and sing with Bling.
You bring the sunshine wherever you go. Sunshine, I love you so.
Thanks for spending time with us down here in Region 9. We hope you get to visit us in real life sometime soon. But one more time, just for you.
You bring the sunshine wherever you go. From Region 9, we love you so.
Hi folks, Captain again. Just like that, those beautiful overtones took us up to 30,000 feet and we're quickly now on our descent. We want to thank you for flying Sweet Adelines, Region 9 Sunshine Airlines. We hope you have a good day. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
The captain has started our descent into our final landing destination. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sweet Adeline Region 9 Sunshine Airline.
That's right, and we hope you've learned something along the way to help that performance in the future, starting with the importance of physicality and movement as a part of your performance success.
And using all of those vocal tips to keep your voice healthy and remembering to use them every day.
Exactly, and most important, how you can be a wonderful inspiration for what you think and how you put that as a positive enforcement into your performance. So, as we get ready to descend, as she said, please fasten your seatbelts.
Did you need that extender?
I am wedged in here pretty good.
Fly Sweet Adelines, Region 9, Sunshine Airlines.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for flying with us.
Bye.
Enjoy the time.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye to those blues.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye now.
No, really.
Come back soon.
Please leave.
Bye.
Okay.
Get out.
Take care.